Part 81. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 806. Wang Zi's premonition came true. What was trapped at this moment was nearly one-third of their team's manpower and weapons. They really couldn't give up, they had to save them. So the remaining Dongcheng people dispersed into three groups. One group of generals tried their best to lure away some zombies, another group was busy setting up roadblocks on the surrounding roads to prevent more zombies from coming, and the other group planned to find openings to rescue people and kill zombies. However, their situation is not optimistic. First of all, Song Tao and the others are in a difficult situation. While they had to avoid the hail of bullets behind them, they also had to avoid headless zombies pouncing on their prey. They hid in the car for fear of being bombed. They had no foothold at all. They cannot wait to be rescued, let alone save themselves. Some of them continue to become zombie food. People also kept getting scratched and bitten. Originally, as long as they received timely supernatural treatment, they would still have a way to survive. But they looked at the ambulance not far away, but they couldn't get past it. Surrounded by endless despair, they watched themselves turn into zombies little by little, unable to control themselves, and wailed one after another. The Dongcheng people on the other side also advanced slowly. They tried their best. But the difficulty of each item is not low. They wanted to lure away the zombies, but the people in the community opposed them and continued to make a lot of noise. Several times, they managed to attract the attention of the zombie group and made them go in the opposite direction, but soon, the zombies turned around again. In order to hang up the zombies, firecrackers and fireworks were set off in the community. Looking at the momentum, those people were eager to attract all the zombies in City A. Their East District team also tried to slowly approach the East Gate to help, but they accidentally entered the shooting range of people in the community. For a moment, bullets and bows and arrows flew together. Several of their advances had to be interrupted as a result. It's not that they haven't thought about using a car to push forward, but the road ahead is surrounded by zombies, and their car can't drive through at all. In this way, their rescue had little effect. Wang Zi was distraught. This means they are likely to spend a lot of time here. The plan for a blitzkrieg had already come to nothing. Judging from the current situation, their losses have been heavy. Even if the remaining besieged brothers are rescued, their strength will be greatly reduced. Will they still have the energy to continue the attack? It is now past 11 o'clock. After their rescue, if they continue to attack, they must ensure that there are no large groups of zombies in the rear. But with the number of zombies that is currently a headache, can they clear them out by dawn? Even if they could, would they still be able to continue fighting after dawn? Are they in danger of being counterattacked? The people in the community have been prepared. Will they have other traps? Those people were waiting for work, and there was no physical loss at all. Wouldn't you like to fight against them who are tired? How high is their winning rate? When Wang Zi raised these questions to Wang Yan one by one, Wang Yan took action. Therefore, the situation is already very unfavorable for them. Every minute wasted means that the opponent's winning rate will increase a little bit. Wang Yan, like Song Tao, is unwilling to give in. If he couldn't defeat this poor community, how could he be worthy of himself and so many brothers? He must give it a try. Especially after hearing Song Tao point out that Shenrong was at the construction site building. That's right. To capture the thief, capture the king first. Shenrong is the core of this community. It is said that she took the lead in several changes. Including tonight, it seemed that she was the only one causing trouble in this neighborhood. This person is like a poisonous snake that may emerge from the dark at any time. If not eliminated, the hidden danger will always exist. On the other hand, if this Shenrong is dealt with, the community will be able to get it easily. This is probably the only way to make the original plan succeed at the lowest cost. Fighting alone happens to be Wang Yan's strength. Then, let him go and meet Shenrong for a while. Wang Yan put on the protective equipment and only said to Wang Zi, "You can take care of things here." Then he went into the dark night and quickly disappeared into a wall at the construction site. He went alone. Not only is he confident in his own skills, but no one else present can keep up with his mobility. Tao Ran was busy at this time. She jumped up and down, attracting zombies from deep inside the construction site and buildings. Those silly things had been locked up for a long time, and some of them had reached the 4th or 5th floors of the building. They didn't know how to get down after they went up, so Tao Ran went to help. No, in just a few minutes, hundreds of zombies found their way to freedom and went after their food. Wang Yan is worthy of being the boss who makes people like Song Tao obey him. He is indeed very capable. He easily avoided the swarms of zombies that were rushing out, and it took him less than a minute to lock Tao Ran's position. Then he saw Tao Ran using his body as a guide to lead the zombies out. At that moment, he was so furious that he chased after her as fast as he could. Tao Ran also saw him, but turned around and ran away. "Shenrong? Is that you?" Wang Yan shouted her name angrily. "Are you afraid of me? Why are you running?" Wang Yan rushed up to the building where Tao Ran was, only to find that the stairs were full of zombies coming down, and they happened to be face to face with him. Angrily, he could only turn around, shake off the zombies, and look for the stairs on the other side to go upstairs. When he finally rushed to the 4th floor where he had just seen Shenrong, he found that Shenrong had arrived downstairs at some point and was leading the group of zombies he had just encountered out of the construction site. And she was extremely arrogant. Not only did she come back a few seconds later, she also said hello to him. "I ran away not because I was afraid of you, but because I still have a job. To me, you are not as important as a zombie. I would like to advise you, self-righteousness is also a disease. It would be great to stay in the hospital for treatment, but it is embarrassing to come out." Tao Ran went her own way and still did her job of guiding, completely ignoring Wang Yan. Wang Yan was so angry that his mouth and nose were on fire, and he began to pursue with all his strength. Soon, he found that the gun was useless. Shenrong, like him, was wearing protective equipment. Moreover, her movement skills are very good and her movements are fast. It is difficult to aim and it is a waste of bullets. "I'm going to capture you and end this bad night," he set a goal. What a coincidence, that's what I thought too. Tao Ran saw that the zombies on the construction site had been lured away, so he chose to face Wang Yan directly. She still has some confidence in her skills. If Wang Yan can be captured, tonight's events will indeed be over in a big sense. She was willing to give it a try. The two fought directly. Both of them are worthy of their reputation and have extraordinary skills. Wang Yan is proficient in various fighting techniques in this world, while Tao Ran uses ancient martial arts. Wang Yan has special powers of strength, while Tao Ran is superior in body skills. Although the two have different skills and focuses, they are both considered leaders in their respective fields, so they are evenly matched. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 807. The two of them exchanged dozens of moves. No victory or defeat in sight. Both of them were surprised by their opponent's strength. In comparison, Wang Yan was even more unhappy. It was the first time he encountered such an opponent. Shenrong's superpower in front of him seems to be an endless source of inner energy. After fighting for so long, not only did she not show any signs of fatigue, she didn't even take a breath. He has the power of clairvoyance and can see that Shenrong's inner air is flowing smoothly and abundantly. If he can't hold her down in 10 minutes, it will be difficult when his power weakens. Wang Yan used his superpower to scan Tao Ran's body several times, but he didn't find any obvious weaknesses in her. She had no underlying diseases or weak organs. She had a complete set of martial arts moves, and her internal energy and external energy complemented each other perfectly, making her whole body look perfect. There are almost no weak spots to attack. How to fight this? How can you win when you are exhausted and rely solely on tricks? He was in a hurry when he suddenly glanced at Taoran's left arm. There is a loophole there. He must have been injured, and he didn't even use supernatural powers to heal it. Wang Yan found a breakthrough, and his attacks suddenly became sharper, and every blow had a target. Taoran hummed. The injury to her left arm was caused by Yao Weiwei. During the day, Fang Fang and the others were trapped in a group of zombies. She cut her arm and used blood to lure the zombies to stay. She had 2 large cuts and bled a lot. After returning to the community, Ao's powers were all used on Fang Fang. She only used anti-hemostatic medicine and a simple bandage. Indeed, compared to her right hand, her left hand was slightly unable to keep up. Taoran didn't expect Wang Yan's abilities to be so sophisticated. It's boring. No more fun. Taoran realized that he might not be able to take advantage of the situation. After a group attack that suddenly increased in speed, he used Qing Kung Fu to turn over and jumped up the stairs. She stopped fighting. Wang Yan hurriedly chased after him, only to realize that there was a huge difference in speed between the two. Shenrong's body shape was extremely erratic, and she could move up and down as she pleased. Coupled with her familiarity with the terrain, she jumped around a few times and disappeared before her eyes. Wang Yan deeply suspected that Shenrong not only had the power of inner energy, but also had the power of hiding his own power, and he also had the power of being as light as a swallow. She is the king of 3 powers. Maybe she was despicable and her methods were cruel and unspeakable, and it was because she had some other disgusting superpower. Wang Yan, who failed to catch Taoran, returned angrily, vowing to kill his enemy with his own hands. In a depressed mood, he kept climbing over the wall, but unexpectedly, he was hit by a grenade before his feet even touched the ground. Boom! It just happened to be such a coincidence that it exploded while he was hanging in the air. Needless to say, with such accuracy and good timing, Shenrong was still the only one who hadn't discovered it immediately. He barely managed to avoid it, but fell into pieces. What's worse is that because of this, it attracted many zombies that had wandered around the construction site. He suddenly became the target of zombie attacks. Looking up, he saw Shenrong on the tree. The stinky girl also waved her hand at him, bared her teeth and smiled in countless arrogant ways. It's a pity that he didn't have wings, so he couldn't get over the zombies and tear her apart. He had to fight hard among the monsters on the spot, and just watched her disappear into the dark night. Taoran had already prepared a way out for himself. She has plenty of ways to go back. For example, go around to the kindergarten, climb over the wall to the back of the zombie-filled cafeteria, and there will be a path that leads into the inner garden. 5 minutes later, she returned to the community. Everyone was having a great time. These days of training were not in vain. Everyone is there on the roof of the building, on the top of the tree, on the top of the pavilion. Bullets and bows and arrows were fired one after another. In just over 20 minutes, only about 40% of the 100 people brought out by Song Tao were left. Taoran also joined in. The opponent's equipment is very good, and most of them have protective measures, so it is difficult to kill them directly whether it is bullets or bows and arrows. The main thing is to make them injured and distracted, and then use zombies to deal with them. The commotion in the community also continued. The effect is obvious. The huge noise attracted zombies from all over the city. Most of the main force in East City are now driving away and cutting off roads to control the zombies coming from elsewhere. Seeing that all the brothers Song Tao had brought with him were gone, they could only find a way to create a fire on the other side of the construction site. They broke the fuel tanks of the 2 cars and set them on fire, then sent speedsters to lure the zombies on the road between the community and the construction site to the fire. Just like that, after struggling for half an hour, the road finally became a little looser. Another half hour passed, and they were finally able to officially rescue and help him out of trouble. After nearly half an hour of hard work, their rescue was over. Everything that could be saved was saved. There were less than 10 intact companions rescued, and they also rescued a dozen slightly injured companions. There were also several companions who were seriously injured and mutated and couldn't be saved even after being brought out, so they had to give up on their own initiative. The atmosphere was dull. This time they took the initiative and lost almost 90% of their partners. The person who had just been responsible for the rescue also suffered 1 death and 10 injuries. Their team of 350 people came out, and now there are less than 250 intact people. Withdraw, Wang Zi asked weakly. Don't withdraw, Wang Yan and Song Tao roared back to her in unison. Both of them were equally angry and unwilling. Wang Zi expected it. She still felt bad. Shen Rong, I must be killed, Wang Yan was deeply stimulated by Tao Ran's provocation. As long as such a powerful character stays in City A, sooner or later he will become a serious trouble, and sooner or later he will have to fight to the death. It is better to strangle him as soon as possible. The chaos just now was mainly due to the fact that the other party had hoarded zombies as helpers. Once they cleared out the zombies, it would be easy to deal with this group of old, weak, sick, and disabled. Wang Yan thought about it for a long time, but he didn't think that the people in the community might have other backup plans. Wang Yan got angry and asked his confidants to go back and mobilize 30 of the 50 ability users who were stationed at Dongcheng Hospital, and bring all the remaining firepower from the warehouse. He had to get rid of Shen Rong, this cancer. Get rid of it at any cost. Rest where you are. His men are exhausted and can't fight now. Look at the time, it's almost 2 o'clock. Everything was just as Wang Zi predicted, and a quick decision was impossible. Rest for 2 hours, we will attack again at 4 o'clock, Wang Yan gave this order. No way. Temperatures are abnormal at the end of the world. Usually within an hour after the sun rises, the temperature will soar to 30 degrees, and after 10 o'clock, it will be at least 35 degrees. By then, let alone fighting, even breathing will be tiring. I want to peel off a layer of skin on my body, let alone wear a body armor or something. And by then, normal people would wear sunglasses, and it would be even more difficult for Song Tao to pry into the secrets. Therefore, if you want to fight, it is best to end the battle before the sun rises. Even if the brothers complained, there was nothing they could do. 3 hours of fierce and rapid attack, just a small area, is enough. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 808. Dongcheng and his group started to rest after making simple partitions on the road. Those who were slightly injured were put into ambulances and were waiting for treatment by superpowers. Yao Weiwei's ambulance was assigned to 3 wounded people who showed signs of mutation and could turn into zombies at any time. She cried and begged, I really can't. I don't have any strength. If I use my powers again, I will die. Wang Yan, who happened to be passing by here, sneered. Aren't you determined to save lives and heal the wounded? Aren't you determined to treat all the wounded? Aren't you going to be the great Holy Mother? If you die to heal people, you will be considered a worthy death and a worthy death. How good! It's glorious to die to save people. I will build a monument for you and ensure that you and your family have both fame and wealth. Everyone will be happy, right? Wang Yan almost hated Yao Weiwei to death. If she hadn't fanned the flames, if she hadn't released all kinds of false information, If she hadn't weakened the abilities, equipment, and weapons of everyone in the community, today's disaster would not have happened. If they have so many brothers, they won't die. If they knew more about this community, they wouldn't face such a situation. He still suspected that this woman was a spy sent by the community. This woman deserves to die. Yao Wei knelt down and begged, "You can't do this. I have status and my family is extraordinary. If people in the base know about you, then wait until they find out," Wang Yan snorted. "This woman has harmed so many brothers. If we don't deal with her, will we be worthy of the brothers? As for the base? At this point, who does he care about? If he wins, he can say whatever he wants. If he loses, does it matter how the base is?" Wang Yan kicked the ambulance door shut. As soon as the door was closed, his men went up and locked it. Yao Wei was then told that if she didn't work hard to help with the treatment, she would become a zombie together with the three. Yao Wei's superpowers had already been used beyond the limit, and she was almost exhausted. Where does she have any energy left? And facing three wounded people? She wants to live. As she worked hard and continued to use her powers, she felt a pain in her chest and there was blood hanging from her mouth. She regretted it. She regretted why she was so greedy for fame and fortune, why she came to such a dangerous place, and why she thought she had the ability to save someone. She regretted that she should not have fled the community. She regretted, why did she go against those people in the community? She suddenly remembered that when Shenrong and Tianhu coerced and induced her to practice physical fitness, they were really doing it for her, right? If she had tried harder back then, would things be different now? When did Father Shen and Tianhu, who originally trusted and respected her, alienate her, hate her, and give up on her? If she could walk into this community with the same calm attitude as Tianhu from the beginning, would she be like Shenrong now, standing on a high place and truly achieving her goals in life, right? But all regrets were too late. Her whole body trembled suddenly, something broke in her senses, and another mouthful of blood spurted out from her mouth. She knew that the power was broken. Her powers are gone. But the three people in front of her could no longer control their actions and reached out to her. The people in Dongcheng were exhausted, and everyone had more or less grievances in their hearts. Wang Yan realized it. He was just about to give everyone a chicken blood injection and discuss the attack methods with everyone later, when he suddenly heard something floating in the air. A burst of fragrance. It came from the direction of the community. Did they eat it? It smells like rice soup and barbecue. On this chilly night, piping hot rice soup and fragrant barbecue are the perfect match. Why do you smell the aroma of chicken soup and stir-fry vegetables when you smell it carefully? How long had it been since they had stir-fried vegetables and fresh broth? How many people's stomachs were rumbling, and the cold wind was blowing, but they had to tighten their clothes? Unlike the people in the community who enjoy good food and drink, they are suffering from hunger and cold. Many people inevitably have questions in their minds. Why? What are they for? At this time, it should be a high bed with soft pillows, right? There were a lot more low-pitched complaints than before. Wang Yan was about to speak when a sudden sound in the air made both him and Song Tao tremble. It's Shenrong. Tao Ranzhong used two loudspeakers with the volume turned up to the maximum to shout, and she used her internal strength, so her voice easily resounded within a kilometer radius. Dongcheng people, listen, if you are still thinking about attacking, I advise you to give up this idea as soon as possible. Our community is not only heavily guarded, but also carefully prepared a large number of traps for you, so that one of you will die, and two of you will die. Damn it, give you time, leave now. Otherwise, we won't let anyone go. We are warning you with great compassion. You have also seen what happened to your disobedient accomplices just now. If you don't want to end up like them, you must leave immediately. Otherwise, I can guarantee that the next group of people who will be torn apart by zombies and have no chance to save themselves will be you. This is your last chance. Tao Ran felt that he had done his best. Although most people in Dongcheng have dirty hands, most of them have no hatred against Shenrong in the plot, so Tao Ran is willing to give them this opportunity. The people in Dongcheng looked at each other when they heard this. Needless to say, Tao Ran actually said that after the two one-sided survival battles during the day and just now, many people no longer wanted to fight. They just want to live in peace, not be overlords. So some people stood up and said they no longer wanted to attack the community and wanted to go back. After one person stood up, many others agreed. 20 or 30 people stood up one after another. The rest of the people also began to show hesitation. Song Tao rushed over. Do you also believe the seductive words of that woman Shen Rong? If she really had an ambush, how could she tell you? If she was really kind-hearted, she wouldn't have been reckless and not given any chance to her brothers just now. How could Song Tao allow someone to think about quitting? He clenched his fists and shouted. That's right, Wang Yan also nodded. At first glance, she looks like a strong person, but a strong person. She was frightened by us and knew that she couldn't handle it, so she wanted to trick us into quitting voluntarily. We have already come to this point. If we go back, the deaths of our previous brothers will be in vain. Can you be worthy of them? There are a large group of old, weak, women and children in this community. What ability do we have that we don't even have a chance to save ourselves? There were 200 of them, but they could fight less than 100. But there are nearly 300 of us. We still have so many weapons, how could we lose? How can you be afraid? After all, Wang Yan was prestigious and his words were intimidating. Several people sat back. Although, some people still feel, I won't participate, I want to leave. The man wanted to leave as he spoke. Wang Yan glanced at Song Tao. Song Tao went up, looked at the brother with his supernatural powers, and then nodded to Wang Yan. The next second, the guy who wanted to go back had a bullet in the center of his eyebrow and fell down immediately. Died. At times like this, I will never allow my team to have different opinions. If you still have to go, just stand up. Wang Yan's henchman held a gun and successfully intimidated everyone. Tao Ran saw this and could only say okay. She had given him a chance anyway, but the enemy was too cruel to rely on her. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 809. A new problem posed before the people of Dongcheng. Now that zombies are gathering around the outside of the entire community, how should they fight in? If they want to break in, they must first deal with these monsters. Although they have not stopped working hard, there are too many monsters coming from the construction site and nearby roads. There are at least 30,000 monsters in this area as of now. Choose another door to attack. But that would inevitably require a detour. They had already built a lot of roadblocks around it, which would be very troublesome. If there are ambushes similar to the East Gate in other gates, it will be troublesome. Let's do it here. Wang Yan just wanted to fight quickly. He and Wang Ziyi discussed it and soon came up with an idea. They decided that since they came to the East Gate, they would also attack the East Gate. Wang Ziyi pointed at the construction site. What she meant was to tell these zombies to go back to wherever they came from. Soon, they assigned a group of superpowers and started taking action. Wang Yan walked around the construction site and became familiar with it. He took a fancy to the south wall of the construction site. There were no zombies there, so he immediately led his people to blast and demolish the wall. Once the wall came down, they cleared away the rubble and arranged for two vehicles to drive into the broken wall. When the two cars arrived at the construction site, they directly broke the car's fuel tank and caused an explosion as before. The fire ignited and attracted a large number of zombies. Many zombies who walked out of the iron gate began to come back. This time they were prepared. In order to prevent the fire from going out at once, they also got a lot of wood and threw it into the fire. How else can the people of Dongcheng expand their strength? They are really ruthless. They took a lot of steel pipes from the construction site and set them up into a rack. Then they simply dragged away the brothers who had been slightly injured and showed signs of mutation, and said, "I'm sorry, we will be brothers again in the next life." These brothers were tied to the rack and bled. After all, they are still human beings, and when the fresh blood flows out, the effect is extraordinary. The zombies are coming in a rage. Another person with speed powers chopped off the bleeding arm of the mutated brother, lured him to the road in front of the east gate, and then threw him into the large iron gate of the construction site. A large number of zombies found their target at once. In just a few minutes, thousands of zombies returned to the construction site. Naturally, everyone in the community will not sit still and wait for death. At the wall next to the east gate, every 10 meters, they erected an iron pole tilted outward, and tied live chickens that screamed on it. The fresh breath also hung the zombies, always keeping them outside the wall. There are a lot of zombies as protective barriers. On the observation tower set up above the east gate, they tied up a wounded and bleeding brother. Ahem, naturally it's still the unlucky Shuefei. These days, Shuefei is used as bait every now and then, and he is almost used to it. Today, when he saw the crowds of zombies outside and the Dongcheng people gearing up to attack, he didn't raise any hope of escaping or taking revenge. It's strange, he just feels that no one can shake the security of this community. It seems that he has been clearly aware of this since the day he last broke his own leg. I'm sorry, Taoran made a cut on Shuefei's leg to bleed. Shuefei didn't want to say anything and closed his eyes directly. Taoran he thought in his heart that it was the greatest punishment for such a powerful person to become half dead. Shuefei really didn't want to see this Shenrong at all. Because even in such a chaotic situation, there was no trace of panic on her face, but a playful smile. Are you happy? Isn't it? So far, she and her people have not suffered any losses, but many people have died outside. He knew that she must be absolutely sure. The fate of the remaining Dongcheng people will probably be the same as the previous batch, and there will be no change. Everyone doesn't believe in evil, but she is so evil. Taoran shook Shuefei from time to time to make him more attracted to the monsters below. Shenrong, are you sure of winning this time? Shuefei rarely took the initiative to ask. More than 90% sure, to be precise, it's 99%. Then if I try harder and save you some effort, can you agree to my request? Kill me. I don't want to live anymore. I'm begging you, I'm sorry for you. Shuefei didn't understand before that Shenrong could be infinitely tolerant to strangers, so why was he only so cruel to him? It wasn't until one time when he was taken out for an operation that Shuefei heard about Shenrong using his fireworks and letting his partners surrender themselves in the bank. Only then did he know that the reason why she hated him so much was because she had insight into him. She has the intention of recruiting her companions to occupy the community, probably, this is her power. Indeed, at that time, he not only had the intention of occupying, but also wanted to clean up the people in the community. He did have bad intentions. So Shuefei had already admitted defeat. I know I was wrong. I will be a good person in my next life. If time could be turned back, Shuefei hoped that he had never passed that pharmacy, then nothing would have happened. Taoran sighed. That's all. Since he admitted his mistake and was willing to redeem himself, she would be more generous. Okay. I promise you. I will give you death as soon as possible. After all, he had killed so many people. This was Taoran's biggest setback. The agreement is complete. After that, without Taoran pushing him, Shuefei asked for a branch and a bag of stones, and he took the initiative to stir up the zombies below. The blood of Shuefei's superpower made the zombies salivate, and Sci-Fi's activity aroused the excitement of the zombies. Therefore, although the zombie group on the road in front of the door was diverted a lot, the outer circle of the entire community was still crowded. A full one. In short, it is definitely impossible for Dongcheng people to easily lure away the zombie swarm. Taoran is laid back. Compared to the busy Dongcheng people, everyone in the community was defending instead of attacking without any effort. The elderly and children had already gone back to sleep. The patrol team also took turns in 2 teams. Now only one team is left, and everyone else has gone. Rest. Look at the time, it's already past 3 o'clock. If they start at 7 o'clock, they can only work hard for another 4 hours at most. Want to spend this time down? Crazy book dream. She can drag them to death. What's more, they haven't been able to rest yet. Are they all superhuman? Therefore, Taoran was confident that the other party would not be able to make any substantial progress before sunset 15 hours later. Everyone in the community should eat and sleep. But it's difficult for the other party. Either stay there and wait for the sun to set before attacking, or go back first. But if it's the latter, then the little progress they finally made is likely to be lost. What a dilemma, pitiful. Taoran's prediction was correct. The Dongcheng people worked hard for an hour. It was almost 5 o'clock, but only half of the zombies were cleared on that road. There were too many and they couldn't get close to the community. But they had to open up an open space that could carry out a large-scale attack, and they had to ensure that no zombies would attack from behind. At least these 2 conditions must be met before they can take the next step. Song Tao said that he still had 1 hour. However, it was already getting a bit dark. Not enough time to attack. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 810. It was almost dawn, and Wang Yan and Song Tao were very depressed. They tried their best, but it backfired. The only thing that made them feel slightly comfortable was that Wang Zhi, who had been observing the community, gave a valid message. It is suspected that all the people in the community live together in the 11th floor building on the east side. She saw it clearly last night. When the old, weak, women and children went back to rest, they all entered that building. Only that building was dimly lit by candlelight or flashlight from time to time in the middle of the night. Compared to other buildings, whether low-rise or high-rise, there is almost no light from the beginning to the end. After Wang Zhi discovered this, he asked the clairvoyants in the team to stare at it, and then got confirmation. For example, a long-haired woman entered the 11th floor of the building with her child. About a minute later, a room on the 7th floor lit up, and they saw the woman and child. After chasing and judging like this several times, I found that the people in the community who came in and out during the middle of the night were all on the 11th floor. From this, it can be confirmed that they should all live in the same building. At this time, too, at dawn, many people came out of the building after resting and changed their clothes. It was obvious that they lived in that building originally. That's right, there are only about 200 people in total. Living in an 11-story building is enough. This building is closest to the east gate, and has the most convenient and reasonable access. And this observation means that once they defeat the community, there is a certain chance that they will do it all. Before the sun came up, the Dongcheng people finally stopped a large number of zombies back to the construction site, and made some partitions on the road in front of the east gate of the community. Finally, the number of zombies in the southeast corner of the community was controlled to more than 1,000. The weather was getting hotter and hotter, and they were getting more and more exhausted, so they had to postpone the decisive battle until after dark. They didn't dare to leave, and they didn't dare to leave only some of them. They are worried that they will be plotted and counterattacked by the people in the community, so they can only stay. They hid in the building behind them to escape the heat and catch up on sleep, leaving only those who were on duty to patrol and those who went back to get food. Wang Ziyi has already drawn the floor plan of the community and is discussing with Wang Yan and others the action plan for later. They decided that they would start taking action as soon as the temperature dropped to 26 degrees at night. But after a while, several people became a little uneasy. They arranged for 2 vehicles to go back to get water, food, and some ammunition. But I've been there for more than 2 hours, why haven't I come yet? Was he delayed because he encountered a zombie on the road? Another hour passed, and they felt that something might have happened. Everyone was so hungry that they could only find some compressed biscuits and other snacks on their bodies and in the car to satisfy their hunger. Wang Yan couldn't bear it anymore, so he and Song Tao decided to go back in person. One is to see what happened, and the other is that the brothers really need something to eat and drink. They each drove a car and brought 2 brothers with them, including those with telepathic abilities. The 2 of them became more and more depressed as they drove. Because a lot of zombies in the west of the city were attracted due to the movement last night, the nearby roads are easy to drive on. All the way to the city it was smooth sailing. If the supply truck didn't come back because of the zombie swarm, then the bad premonition is getting stronger and stronger. Song Tao was very careful and maximized his powers for fear of being attacked by surprise. Not long after entering the city, they discovered a strong smell of smoke ahead. After driving for a while, they discovered that the smell of smoke seemed to be on the eastbound road they were driving on. When he saw 2 charred subs right in front of him, Wang Yan and Song Tao's faces were not much prettier than the charred cars. This car belongs to their hospital. You can recognize it immediately because of the logo. Moreover, it was the car that the brother who went back to get supplies drove on weekdays. A large group of zombies, 1 to 200 in total, were still surrounding the 2 cars. Problem occurs. It took them more than 10 minutes to clear and lure away the zombie swarm. When I got closer, I saw that both cars were empty, with only some food residue left in the trunk. It was obvious that he had been robbed. The brothers in the car were either taken away or killed. Wang Yan and the 2 felt aggrieved. The first thing that came to their mind was that Shenrong was the one who could accomplish this. Who else but her? Both of them have seen her erratic skills, and they have no doubt that she has a way to easily enter and leave the community and carry out sneak attacks. Soon, they discovered that the bullets on the wheels of the surrounded cars were from sniper rifles. It's the same type of bullet as the one used by Shenrong before. The 2 of them were so angry that they wanted to vomit blood. This is their supply truck. Not only is there food, but there are also bullets and grenades. All gone. It's all been taken away. Afraid of another sneak attack nearby, the 2 cars left immediately. They still have to go back, brothers have to eat and drink, they can't fight if they are hungry. No matter the cost, we will knock down the community, both of them swore an oath. The 2 cars quickly headed to the DC area. They were nervous all the way, for fear of encountering a sneak attack. Half an hour later, they finally entered their home safely and smoothly, and arrived at the hospital. Little did they know that at this moment, Taoran had not only returned to the community, but also planned to do something. Taoran guessed that the other party needed supplies and would definitely send someone back to get them, so he secretly left the community long ago. In the small alley opposite the kindergarten, there are several cars parked that everyone in the community is ready to evacuate or move from the kindergarten at any time. She picked one and set off. Of course she had to do something while it was still early and the weather wasn't that hot. She hadn't thought about taking advantage of the current emptiness in East City to secretly go to the opponent's base to cause trouble, conduct an assassination, sneak attack, steal, set fire, or lead a team to directly destroy their hospital base. However unrealistic. Although the opponent didn't have many people left, their defense was very good. Because there are generators, the hospital's power grid and security system are all running normally. Taoran didn't think he had that ability. What she can do is to block supplies and destroy part of the opponent's strength. She waited patiently on the road, and after half an hour of dormancy, she easily took action to achieve her wish. Every time she robs the opponent a little more, the opponent becomes more difficult. Every time she frustrates the opponent's spirit and morale will become even weaker. So she has decided on these things. There were so many things that she had to make 2 trips to transport them. The weapons are very good and can make everyone feel more confident tonight. The few Dongcheng people she captured. After confiscating their weapons and breaking off their hands and feet, she threw them into the car. We can't waste it. It's also good to keep these people hanging on the zombies. During the 2 shipments of supplies, Tao Ran went back from Nanjing, so he didn't run into Song Tao and the others at all. Song Tao and the others' worries were unnecessary. Tao Ran never planned to take action against them again. One is that the weather is too hot, and the other is that she knows herself. She can no longer defeat Wang Yan, let alone Song Tao and the others. If you have that time, you might as well go home and do something while Wang Yan and Song Tao are away. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 811. After successfully arranging for someone to secretly unload the goods through a passage lined with trees and out of sight, Tao Ran sent someone to find Bai Moli. Bai Jasmine was hung high by her. In fact, Bai Moli's value has been exhausted, and it is simply unrealistic to use her as a hostage, but Tao Ran still wants to make the best use of her. Then she started shouting. Bai Moli's brothers opposite, listen, don't forget that Jasmine is still in my hands. Her life is about to be saved. Are you really sure you want to see her die? Why don't you agree to my small request? While saying this, Tao Ran stared at the opposite side with his binoculars. She actually saw a few people standing up a little excitedly on the opposite side. She had already learned from the captured Dongcheng prisoners that the bank's actions that day were all as she had planned. The mantis stalks the cicada while the oriole follows behind. When Xuefei's accomplices had almost wiped out the bank's garrison, Song Tao and his brothers rushed back to surround them. When Xuefei's accomplices were almost wiped out, Dongcheng came again. After a large-scale siege by the Dongcheng people, a total of 10 bank forces including Song Tao Beiying, who had surrendered, were recruited. There are 10 people. Apart from Song Tao and Bai Ying, are there any other brothers of Bai Moli inside? There really is. Bai Moli pointed out that she saw her 3 brothers, but could not see the others clearly. One is a childhood sweetheart, one is a neighbor, and the other is her old love. So, while Song Tao and Wang Yan were not in the way, Tao Ran showed up. It actually works. 4 men suddenly stood up and asked her what her conditions were. How can this work? Wang Zi rushed out and immediately gave orders to his cronies to control those people. At the same time, Tao Ran was also shouting, as long as you capture Wang Zi, I will let Bai Moli go. I don't have any other requirements. I swear. Tao Ran dared to swear because she knew that such a transaction would never happen. Wang Zi is the second in command of the opponent. Even if he doesn't have special powers, he is protected by a lot of people. She was just provoking it. After Wang Zi heard this, even if he didn't deal with these people originally, he must do something if he was afraid that they would do something bad. And even if those people had no intention of arresting Wang Zi, now that they saw someone coming to arrest them, they naturally had to fight when they thought of Bai Ying's fate. Tao Ran laughed. Sure enough, there was a bit of chaos on the other side. A few people who didn't want to be caught started fighting with Wang Zi's cronies. Although the chaos calmed down after 2 minutes. But the sound of gunshots occurred several times. Some were carried out and some were arrested. Wang Ziyi walked out with an angry face and was filled with anger and hatred towards Tao Ran. She had a gun in her hand, and she fired it. Although she knew it was taboo to shoot at this time, she would never allow the team to cause trouble at this time. Tao Ran smiled and spread his hands. It's just a joke. Why are you so angry? She was so angry that it cost her life. I just want to talk to Wang Ziyi. If you don't want to come and tell me directly, why bother hurting others? Aren't they all your brothers? They were just working hard for you and your brother's ambitions. What are you going to do? Do you have to do it? You are chilling everyone's heart. After all, everyone is helping your brother and sister conquer the world. Tao Ran continued to provoke. She didn't mind it at all. Just by killing Bai Moli and saying a few words, the opponent lost a lot of combat power and further divided the cohesion. This is already a white wolf with nothing, okay. She could see the strange atmosphere on the other side and the extremely low morale. Indeed, many Dongcheng people looked irritated. In the 24 hours from yesterday to now, they have been busy, but they have been losing money. There is no result, but their number has dropped from 400 to more than 200. He was hot and tired, hungry and thirsty. He would get into trouble from time to time, and he would lose a few brothers from time to time, without incident. The supply truck hasn't returned yet, so I know something must have happened again. Especially the nightmarish night last night makes people feel hairy all over when they think about it. This neighborhood looks easy to fight, but is it actually too weird? Of course they knew that Shen Rong had bad intentions when she said this, but she seemed to be right about one thing. They don't have to fight, but Wang Yan and Song Ao want to fight? To put it simply, it was Wang Yan's strength that made the community stronger. But why would they risk their lives to fulfill other people's ambitions? Are their lives worthless? Why don't their ambitions bet on themselves? Tao Ran is still stabbing Wang Ziyi. As a person, you must be honest. Since you don't want to come, don't force yourself to beg to come into our community later. It's embarrassing. After that, she asked people to put Bai Moli down. The girl's hope was shattered again and she cried uncontrollably. Song Tao didn't care about her, her brothers couldn't save her. She is finished. Tao Ran's instigation was effective. Soon, they observed some commotion on the opposite side. At this time, it can be observed that Wang Yan and Song Tao's cars are coming back. They have already driven a street away, and many people are preparing to come forward to meet them. But someone caused a little trouble, and then a total of 5 people drove away from the back street. Wang Ziyi quickly led people to stop him, but he was not stopped. The car sped so fast that it disappeared from the intersection in the blink of an eye. A few more people were jealous and wanted to take advantage of the chaos, but they were detained. The person who was stopped got a little excited and cursed. Tao Ran has good hearing after practicing martial arts, and he can hear them scolding the Wang siblings for being selfish, saying that they just want to live and don't want to fight. These people who had expressed their desire to go back before knew very well that their best chance to escape was before Song Tao and Wang Yan came back. Once Song Tao glanced at them, their little Jeju couldn't escape his eyes. Before the fight, 1/3 of Dongqing's strength has been wiped out, and we still don't know what the situation will be after the fight is over. Who knows if he will be the one who loses his life? There is no need to panic if you have a weapon on hand, at least you can be safe. If they're lucky and aren't being chased, they can still go back to the hospital to pack their things and take away some supplies, maybe their own chance will come as well? With this kind of thinking, how could they not give it a try? Tao Ran's goal was achieved again. Taking advantage of Song Tao's absence, the opponent's combat effectiveness once again declined and the divisions became serious. What's next? Well, it's too hot. Let's take a nap to recharge first. After Wang Yan came back, he showed no mercy to the deserters, which made the atmosphere among Dongcheng people even worse. Even though Wang Ziyi tried hard to adjust the atmosphere, it still had no effect. Song Tao just sat in front of the abandoned building. Do good work for the team, and then we will all have fun together. If I see through your bad intentions, then there will be no chance of eating cookies in the future, he threatened severely. For a long time after that, Song Tao kept an eye on the community. Like a statue of hatred. While he vowed to cut Shenrong into pieces, he was also observing everyone in the community. Unfortunately, the other party was well prepared. Everyone wears glasses, his powers are useless, he can't detect anything. The sun finally sets. It's time to strike. Thank you to the book friend whose last number is 215,127. The book friend's last number is 22,576. I have reset the reward for the Lai Huo of you baby. Do you like it? The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 812. An hour after the sun sets, the temperature begins to plummet. The Dongcheng people began to prepare for an attack. After originally transferring 30 people from the hospital, they already had 280 people. But because Shenrong killed 6 people in 2 trucks transporting supplies, instigated 5 people to escape, and only 4 escaped, and several more people were controlled by Song Tao as dangerous elements, the number of people they could use now was still 250 after all. But as soon as he thought about the fighting power of only a few dozen people, Wang Yan's confidence returned. And after a day of observation, Wang Yan's chin is getting higher and higher. He can basically be sure that within 1 to 2 hours at most, this resource-rich community will be within his grasp. He is not blindly confident. But it has been analyzed. In the community, they are indeed strengthening defenses in the southeast. All day long, their people were coming in and out of the area. Although Wang Yan, Wang Ziyi, and even their clairvoyants could not see what the other party was doing due to the cover of the plants, they could see that the other party had set up several sniper stations and was constantly raising the walls. Wang Yan laughed and scolded, "I'm just trying to make ends meet." Their team's hearing aids also paid attention to the community throughout the day. In the morning, he heard someone arguing inside because of a fight. Some people were lazy, others were annoyed, and in the end they almost got into a fight. Oh, what can a bunch of stragglers accomplish? Soon, he heard someone crying, saying that Uncle Wang was frightened last night and was about to die, and asked Au to get supernatural treatment. As a result, the two groups of people quarreled again. One party said that Au could only be treated twice a day, and that Shenrong had just used his superpower once when he came back from grabbing supplies and was injured. So Au only has one chance to use superpowers today. What if I use it now and the people from Dongcheng come in later? The other party believed that they could not ignore death. Later, Uncle Wang's son even got into a fight. Finally, I asked Shenrong, who said, "Save." That Uncle Wang was rescued. Good thing. This means that there is actually no healing ability in this community. From time to time, people with special hearing abilities could hear sighs inside, and someone was secretly scolding Shenrong, saying that she was the cause of the disaster. They are old, weak, sick, and disabled. They were blocked by the zombie gang before. What should they do now? He said that if someone comes in later, should they surrender voluntarily? Ha, let's just say, how united can we be in these troubled times? Idiot's dream. After all, it's just a piece of loose sand. When disaster strikes, life is the most important thing. No matter how powerful Shenrong is, how can he control the hearts of hundreds of people? In addition, the person with strong ears also heard children crying and adults scolding several times. In short, the community was in chaos. All this made Wang Yan confirm that the strong ones outside the community were the most powerful, and it was all thanks to the help of Shenrong and the previous zombies for defense. Shenrong's various clamors, threats, provocations, and incitements were all because he had no confidence, so he wanted them to retreat despite difficulties. Oh, Wang Zi was deceived by her and kept trying to persuade her to retreat. He persisted and finally was not fooled. When there was still a glimmer of light in the evening, the Dongcheng people began to act. Their people were divided into several groups in an orderly manner. Song Tao led a charge and entered the opponent's range to clear out the zombies. It's not difficult to deal with just over 1,000 zombies. In 10 minutes at most, killing and luring him, he will be completely dealt with. A sniper attack started in the community, which was of little significance. The people led by Song Tao were all equipped with bulletproof equipment, so it was difficult to hit the vital points. Someone in the community wanted to throw a mine, but Shenrong stopped him, saying that it would help Song Tao and the others kill zombies. Just like this, the community was buzzing with anxiety, but there was no good way to stop it. Even Wang Yan and Song Tao could hear with their own ears the cursing and anxious tones inside. A few minutes later, there were only a few hundred zombies left in the southeast corner. Shenrong showed up again. Although she still looked calm, her expression and faster speaking speed revealed that she was not calm. She once again began to threaten and intimidate the Dongcheng people to leave, saying that she had prepared a large number of traps and assassinations. If they came in, they would never come back. Wang Yan almost died laughing. Do you think he is a fool? If she has a trap, will she reveal it now? It's obvious that her confidence is almost gone. Wang Yan waved his hand and stepped up his offensive. As expected, Shenrong changed his move again. 2 minutes later, I saw Shenrong tying up several people on a high platform in the distance. Upon closer inspection, they were the same people who went back to Dongcheng to collect supplies during the day and were plotted by Shenrong in the end. Wang Yan became angry again. He almost thought that these brothers had fallen into the zombies' mouths and turned out to be brought back. Shenrong, if you attack again, we will kill them. Wang Yan smiled. Shenrong, you have no other tricks? How many times have you used this trick? Is it still interesting? Threats and threats have no effect. If you are sensible, just surrender and kneel down to beg for mercy. Maybe I can let you live. But I asked, the people who help you get supplies are all your confidants. One of them is your cousin. Do you really not care about their lives? Wang Yan is not someone who will be threatened. If you kill them, I will pay with your lives. You kill one of me, and I will kill 10 of you. It's a good deal. I believe my brothers will understand that let's be brothers again in the next life. Shenrong left angrily. Wang Yan was even more proud. Seeing that the zombies in the southwest corner of the community were cleared, he began to direct people to carry out a strong attack. They directly blasted and demolished the wall. With a bang, the hole opened. Although the opponent was hit with a lot of bullets, they were well prepared and did not suffer any losses. Only a few people were shot due to the lack of protection in their arms, so it was not a big problem. 3 minutes later, the opened opening was large enough for a small car to pass through. 3 minutes later, the demolished wall was already several square meters in size. Inside the wall, the other side built protection, a high iron fence. There are so many people that it is too difficult to climb the fence to attack. So they planned to just tear down these fences. The Dongcheng people's military vehicles came in handy. The car came out, once, again, and started pushing directly. Even though the iron fence has been reinforced in the community, it only took a dozen times for the fence to collapse. In less than 3 minutes, this fence will fall. At this time, Shenrong started again. As long as you can stop here, I am willing to negotiate. Or, I can promise to give you half of the supplies. In this way, we can avoid our own casualties and everyone will be happy, right? Wang Yan almost died from crying and laughing because of Shenrong's stupidity. He has reached this point. He was only one step away from destroying them, one step away from possessing them directly, and one step away from avenging his brothers. How would he still care about half of her supplies? I want to negotiate now, it's too late. Wang Yan said harshly, I must crush your place today. Then, he gave the order, everyone, listen to my instructions and get ready, we will all attack. We will try to end the battle within half an hour. I've been out of water for 2 days in a row. I really don't have time to type during the day, so the updates for these 2 days are late. Sorry. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 813. A large piece of the community's iron fence soon fell down. Dongcheng people can finally take a step further. Song Tao and others all got on the military vehicle and followed the vehicle directly inside. Military vehicles have special baffles, making them safer when facing enemy gunfire. Indeed, although the shots fired by people in the community were fierce, they became increasingly ineffective. Although a large number of grenades were thrown, the military vehicles were well built and had basically no impact. Although they have not yet completely entered the community, Dongcheng people can already strongly feel the panic of the people in the community ahead. Let's just talk about the 11th floor of the building where everyone in the community lives. From sunset, there are a lot of people going up and down. It was now dark, and many floors in the entire building were already dimly lit, and shadows of people were passing by from time to time. From high up on that floor, the cries of children could be heard several times. Song Tao had already locked onto the gunman on the tree 100 meters ahead on the left. The woman actually used her beautiful double spears, and several brothers whose heads were unprotected fell to her hands. This person is naturally still Shen Rong. Song Tao gave an order to the brothers behind him and asked for cooperation. So, several snipers were aimed at Shen Rong, and the concentrated bullets were fired at Shen Rong alone. But Shen Rong was not in a still state. She was jumping up and down, so it was difficult to aim. Several shots were fired, but none hit. However, Shen Rong was also obviously in a state of embarrassment, slipping on branches several times. Especially after Song Tao's aimed shot, Shen Rong fell directly from the tree. She subconsciously hung her legs upside down and her sunglasses fell off. Shen Rong, Song Tao was waiting for this moment. While calling her deliberately, Song Tao also exposed a little of his body. Sure enough, his self-exposure attracted Shen Rong's attention. After the other party took one look at it, he immediately shot him. Of course, at that moment, the two of them also looked at each other. Song Tao was already prepared to dodge the gun and at the same time activated his superpower. After Shen Rong discovered that the person who hit her and called her was actually Song Tao, she obviously realized that she had been fooled. While avoiding her eyes in a panic, she shouted retreat behind her, found her glasses and put them on again, and then evacuate like the wind. Song Tao smiled. What is it? Wang Yan and Wang Zi asked in unison. She only had one thought, and I caught it. She was saying, I can't bear it anymore, so I have to retreat to the building. Song Tao's face was full of spring breeze. Wang Yan also laughed and patted Wang Zi on the shoulder. Sister, can you rest assured now? I'm just saying that they are strong on the outside and capable on the inside, and it is impossible for them to come up with any tricks. Let's just move forward with confidence. Wang Zi hummed. Although, she still felt uneasy. But she knew that Song Tao's powers were also very powerful. He almost never failed in his ability to see people's hearts, so it was impossible for him to get it wrong. Could it be that my palpitations are because I haven't had enough rest these past few days? Is it because of what happened before? She took a few deep breaths and forced herself to calm down. The headlights of the military vehicle were on, illuminating the front clearly. It's a pity that this community is so well shielded that they can't see the whole thing at a glance. They can only see a few buildings not far away with 3 floors or more. But that doesn't matter. As Song Tao spied, after Shen Rong gave the order, many people rushed up to the 11th floor of the building that she had targeted early in the morning. The other party is indeed retreating, and the crowds are surging upwards. They should be planning to fight them in the building for the final battle. The lights in the building that kept turning on, and the increasing number of panicked figures and sounds all confirmed this. It seemed like she was overthinking it. That'll do. Thus, the Dongcheng people's advance continued. As soon as I walked in, several layers of iron mesh appeared in front of me. In the partitions of the iron mesh, 200 to 300 zombies have been placed in advance. Huh, that's it? The military vehicle slammed into the iron fence again. Impact after impact, impact after impact. The zombies fell down one after another with the iron net. Song Tao and others also held submachine guns and fired at Tutu. In less than 3 minutes, this group of zombies was also dealt with. And this community was finally revealed in front of them. The military vehicle couldn't drive in, so the Dongcheng people got out of the car and officially started to move forward. All the flashlights were turned on, and the speed did not increase blindly. The Dongcheng people formed a formation to spy on all directions while advancing steadily. As expected, everyone in the community had retreated, and they didn't even see anyone. After walking through the entire green corridor, they finally saw the interior of the community. To be honest, this place is much better than they imagined. Compared to their stifling, cold and intimidating hospital base, this place is more like a place for people to live. In vain, they claim to be the hegemon in the city. Never would they have imagined that it turns out to be true to the old saying, there is someone out there. The feeling became more and more unbalanced, which made Wang Yan and the others secretly determined to seize this feng shui treasure land quickly. As soon as they walked out of the corridor, their eyes locked on the 11th floor of the target building. Only that building was lively, while other buildings and parts of the community were dark. The person standing there on the top floor of the 11th floor was Shen Rong. On the roof of the building, everyone from Bai Moli to the few members of the supply team who were arrested today were hung. These people were all hung outside by her, with only a rope connected to the top of the building, swaying left and right with the cold wind. Bai Moli even let out bursts of noisy screams and begged for help. Wang Yan sneered again. This Shen Rong is really at his wit's end. How many times has he done this trick? Will they still care? However, this also proves that the other party is desperate. Not bothering to care about Shen Rong, they continued forward, heading straight to the 11th floor of the target building. But head on, they also encountered a group of zombies. It looked like he was released from somewhere. It's a pity that the quantity is not enough. This time it was only less than 200. Even the number of zombies is getting smaller and smaller every time. Isn't this enough? It took another 3 minutes for the Dongcheng people to deal with the group of zombies, and finally faced the hail of bullets in front of them and arrived at the bottom of the 11th floor. Although their brothers kept getting injured, it wasn't a big problem. If protective measures are taken well, there will be basically no fatal injuries. Moreover, the opponent's sniper rifle has long been out of bullets, and the small pistol with insufficient accuracy is simply not enough for people with special abilities like them. The Dongcheng people rushed to the lobby on the 11th floor smoothly. Then the sound of messy footsteps rushing up the stairs and various screams could be heard. Why are you so polite? Come on. Following the stairs that made a huge noise, they began to rush up. Ha! The more they rush, the funnier they become. I thought that this group of people would do some tricks on each floor, ambush or something, but they chased them all the way, and the other party ran away all the way. There was constant screaming and crying upstairs. Did they all run upward? Come on. Everyone rush. Let's kill the living ones first. We'll search them layer by layer later. Wang Yan gave orders and directed everyone to strive upward. Song Tao is already in the first place. In a blink of an eye, the slow-running Dongcheng people had reached the 6th floor. The fast runner has already reached the 11th floor. It's just that, they were already surprised. How come they haven't seen anyone yet? Did everyone in the community go to the roof? 200 people are waiting on the roof to fight them to the death? At this time, their walkie-talkie also rang. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 814. Call, boss. That's not right. There seems to be a scam. This sentence came from the walkie-talkies of Song Tao and Wang Yan and Wang Ziyi at the same time. The person who spoke was a member of the observation team they sent to the outskirts of the community. Yesterday, a group of 20,000 to 30,000 zombies emerged from the east gate, which frightened the people of Dongcheng. Therefore, when launching a general offensive this time, they also deliberately left an inspection team on the periphery to report if something was wrong. After confirming that they were going to attack the 11th floor building from the east of the community, the inspection team focused their attention on this building. They used bright flashlights from time to time. No, what did they stare at a minute ago? A brother from the west accidentally discovered something sliding down in the northwest corner of the 11-story building. Then take a closer look through the telescope, darling, that's not a thing. But people. There's more than one. Instead, there were about 5 or 6 steel cables, and about 10 people, just like Spider-Man, sliding down the wall. This is obviously not their person. But the other person. What is this doing? Why? Didn't you say that everyone is in the building? What does it mean when they slide down? The 11th floor is so high, but they can climb down very easily and skillfully. It looks like they have practiced it. No matter how you look at it, it seems like this is a deliberate attempt to lure the Dongcheng people into this building. And if they turn to such a corner of the water pipe and slide down, there will be problems no matter how they look at it, right? There must be a ghost. Although the inspection team didn't understand it, they decided to notify it quickly on the intercom. Fraud. At this time, Song Tao, who was the fastest runner, had already reached the top rooftop. He was focused and careful, with a submachine gun in hand, kicked open the iron door of the rooftop, threw out a grenade, and then quickly hid behind the door. It exploded with a bang. If we go by our assumptions, there should be a lot of people on the rooftop right now. If it gets hit by a bomb, there should be all kinds of mourning, and then all kinds of bullets will come. But, except for the explosion, there was no movement. And the moment the iron door of the rooftop opened, Song Tao saw nothing. His heart sank several times. He didn't believe it. He kicked the door open again and rolled out. He was not attacked. The scene that made him particularly uncomfortable and aggrieved was right in front of him. The entire rooftop was empty. There were no 200 people. To be precise, except for the few Bimoli who were hung outside the rooftop, there was no one. Not even a dog. So what are the crowds of people they saw and the sounds of running away that they heard? Song Tao was so angry that he wanted to kill someone. What was the information about the retreat building that he read from Shenrong's eyes with his supernatural power? He was cheated. Shenrong was deceived. Needless to say, it is all a ploy by people from the community to lure enemies. So, what does the other party want? Oops. In just a short time, nearly 100 people rushed to the roof. People from Dongcheng are still coming up. Song Tao turned around and asked them to go down quickly and take a look at the floors below. There were weird things on each floor. They didn't even bother to care about the brothers who were hanging on the rooftop, and turned around and left. Song Tao rushed to the 11th floor and kicked open 2 rooms. All empty. He called Wang Yan, who was currently on the 8th floor, and asked him to lead people down quickly and evacuate some brothers to leave the building first. Wang Yan also realized something was wrong. Because when he heard the call from the intercom, he had already kicked open a bright room on the 8th floor. Then guess what he saw? Dummy. What a dummy. The dummy sitting by the window. Moreover, this room is so dusty that no one has lived there for almost a year. He doesn't believe in evil. Kicked open the next room again. The same. No one lives there either. Wang Yan panicked. Wang Zi, who was still on the next floor, told him that there was no one in the lighted rooms downstairs. So they were wrong from the beginning. Been fooled since yesterday. This building has never been occupied. Then the other party attracted them. So there was no need for Song Tao to say that Wang Yan and Wang Zi were already signaling to evacuate. Their speedsters had rushed to the bottom of the building. Sure enough, the door to the lobby from the stairwell that had been accessible just now was locked. They fired fiercely at each other with their guns. After nearly 10 shots were fired, the door did not move. Obviously, the door was not only locked, but also sealed with something thick and heavy. Look, find another door, there is also a small door at the other end of the stairwell. But it was useless, it was also blocked. Likewise, the gun cannot be fired. Boss, it's bad. The door is blocked. The faces of the 2 speedsters turned dark and they shouted loudly. Because not only could they not get out, but they also heard the most frightening sound, which sounded like it came from hell and made the entire corridor vibrate. That feeling was like thousands of troops coming up from the ground, and the scene of the Shura field from last night flashed before their eyes again. Only then did they discover that the door from the stairwell to the underground garage had not only been opened, but had also been removed. In the underground garage, it can't be, right? The 2 looked at each other and bravely took a few steps down. You don't know it, but when you look at it, you can see that the black zombies below are only a few steps away from reaching the 1st floor. As soon as they smell their scent, they rush over in excitement. At this glance, they only felt that there were huge crowds of people. If they were asked to give a number, they could only say countless people. The 2 turned around and ran away. It was only then that they discovered that there was nothing in the stairwell, not even anything that could stop the zombie horde. What can be done? Their only choice was to run upstairs as fast as possible. Then they discovered that the ventilation holes that should have been at the corners of the stairwells on the 1st and 2nd floors were also sealed. When they rushed to the 3rd floor in one breath, the zombies below had already ascended to the 1st floor and were beginning to ascend to the 2nd floor. Finally, the stairwell window on the 3rd floor was not sealed. The 2 smashed the windows in the corridor, shouted to the people upstairs, "Everyone jump out of the window and escape, the zombies are coming from below," and jumped from the 3rd floor. At this time, Wang Yan, who had already taken Wang Zi down to the 4th floor, saw his brother jump before he could ask clearly. What? How many zombies can scare them enough to jump off a building? Does he want to dance too? But this is the 4th floor, and the body armor is not fall-proof. If you jump, you will be seriously injured. And he had to take his sister with him. How about going down to the 3rd floor and then jumping down? As soon as he hesitated, he heard gunshots ringing out downstairs, and the brother who had just jumped down was screaming. He looked down and saw that the 2 brothers had not only been shot, but were also lying on the ground and howling. Looking again, not only were armed personnel from the community appearing out of nowhere all downstairs, but there were also nail boards under every window. Anyone who jumps out of a window will have to withstand the double test of being beaten with a gun and nailed to a board. Wang Yan immediately locked onto Shen Rong, who had already thrown away his sunglasses. The other party was also looking at him. Their eyes met. Shen Rong stretched out his hand and waved at him, smiling brightly. The heroine who wears fast is really a boss. Author, Ruo Shui 1111. Chapter 815. At this moment, the sound coming from Wang Yan and the others' feet was like the earth shaking. His men came to report that the headless zombie horde had reached the second floor. Wang Yan finally understood why the two brothers with super speed felt that jumping out of the window and escaping was the only way out. Shen Rong was shouting downstairs. Wang Yan, what about you? To jump, or not to jump? This is indeed a problem. If you jump 4 floors down, you will definitely be injured. With the addition of pegboards and gunshots, it definitely delivers. If you don't jump, you'll just be waiting for endless zombies to come, and if you can block it for a while, you won't be able to survive for too long. Sooner or later he will die. Haha, choosing one of the two seems to be a dead end. Indeed, there is not a single community member left in this building. The retreat set up earlier came in handy. Starting at night, all the old and weak children in the community brought their supplies with them through the passage and entered the kindergarten area that Dongcheng people had never paid attention to. After the Dongcheng people called, Taoran's plan was divided into 2 parts. Last night at the construction site was part 1. If the other party withdraws, the plan will be aborted. But the other party insisted on staying and carrying out the attack to the end, so she could only start the second plan. The gap has been completely sealed. If you want to end it all at once, you have to catch them all in one fell swoop. The equipment of the Dongcheng people is so good. No matter how good the defensive setup they put in, it is difficult to stop the opponent. No matter how good their marksmanship is, it is difficult to destroy an enemy with one bullet. So they have to think of something else. Taoran took a fancy to this 11th floor building and wanted to bring everyone in. After all, the first 11th floor building in the east was too special. You must know that the east gate is their entrance and exit. In the past 6 months, zombies have blocked the road. In addition to leading the zombies to the opposite construction site, they also led the zombies to the underground garage near the east gate. In fact, Taoran had imagined what she would do if an enemy inside or outside the plot attacked the door not long after she came to the community. At that time, she had already planned a way to lure the enemy deep and then sit on the mountain and watch the fight. Zombies fighting enemies, the easiest thing to do. So this building was chosen by her early on. However, the battle outside the east gate yesterday was too fierce. Dongcheng people were very defensive about the community. How to get the other party to enter this building obediently became the key point. So starting last night, Taoran began her dual role as an actor and director. She arranged for many people to live in the 11th floor building, attracting the attention of Dongcheng people to this building. How can we not wash away the deep hatred with blood? If there are people living there, supplies must be abundant. The opponent must win this building. In addition, in order to deceive others tonight and make Dongcheng people believe that they are all in the building, people in the community have been making dummies since yesterday. Since only a faint shadow is enough, the dummy is very simple. The children contributed a lot of dolls, and after a little modification, they put on human clothes, and they naturally looked like human beings, and the women with skillful hands simply sewed some dummies, which were enough to deceive the other party. And today, Taoran also arranged for everyone to cry and fuss, spread some gossip, and cause some conflicts, so that everyone could come in and out of the building. Of course, her own role is more important. She repeatedly threatened, intimidated, and provoked her, and tried to persuade her to retreat several times, making the other party fully believe that she had no move. At the same time, she also aroused the other party's anger again and again, vowing to destroy them all at any cost. Knowing that the other party was about to call, she only led everyone to make some defensive measures that were more formal than effective. Even losing her glasses was part of her plan. Her mental power was so powerful. In less than a second of looking at each other with Song Tao, she had the confidence to suppress Song Tao's powers, not to mention instilling the prepared information into him. At that time, her mental energy was at full strength, and all she output was a strong thought. Sure enough, Song Tao was fooled and stepped into her trap, thinking that everyone in the community had entered the 11th floor building, and just wanted to kill everyone and clean up the community in one go. Especially after Tao ran tied up by Molly and several Dongcheng people to the roof, they were even more convinced. In fact, the noises that Dongcheng people heard as they approached the building were all caused by Tao Ran and several of the superpowers from the neighborhood. At that time, there were only a few dozen of them left in the entire building, but everyone made as many fleeing noises as possible. As for the crying, footsteps, and a lot of messy sounds, they were naturally planned in advance. During the day, Tao Ran organized everyone to conduct various adjustments in the building. He not only used several speakers to record a variety of different movements, but also made the people of Dongcheng believe that they were all anxiously moving around in this building, killing two birds with one stone. After the operation started, these speakers were brought to the top of the building by a person with special abilities. By pressing a button, the sound and content could be switched at any time, which deceived all the people in Dongcheng. The people from Dongcheng were rushing up here, and the superpowers from the community over there had already begun to slide down through the iron cables next to the water pipes on the back wall. Tao Ran saw that his men were about the same, so he was directly responsible for the finishing touches. She cut the iron rope to prevent Dongcheng people from using the same method to escape from the building later. After that, she quickly went downstairs using her ability to climb over eaves and walls. The hidden combatants in the community were ready, and they worked together to kill several people in Dongcheng who were patrolling outside the building in just 3 seconds. Then they divided the work and worked together. Tao Ran rushed into the building with the superpowers. The remaining people used the fastest speed to lay down the nail boards that had been prepared. The door to the underground garage was opened, and Tao Ran rushed in to lure him in, yelling and spreading blood all over the place. The zombie swarm was quickly aroused. At this time, the superpowers were dismantling the iron door of the garage that had already loosened the screws. When Tao Ran stepped out, the iron door was also removed. A group of people left as quickly as possible and sealed the stairway door. They knew that the huge movement above the stairs would immediately guide the zombies to go up. Tao Ran and the others took out the steel plates they had prepared long ago and sealed the stair door tightly. It's a thick steel plate of more than 10 centimeters, and it doesn't matter what kind of bullet you have. They had no worries at all, because the iron door on the other side of the first floor stairwell was sealed during the day. The ventilation openings in the stairway have also been sealed in advance. All the windows on the third floor and below were originally made into anti-theft windows. At the critical moment when being chased by zombies, it is impossible for the other party to have time to remove the anti-theft windows. So if you want to escape by jumping off a building, you should at least get up from the third floor. If you want to run, you have to be thrown first. When Tao Ran and the others came out, the remaining combatants were ready and surrounded the building tightly. At the same time, their guns were pointed upward. So, she didn't lie. She told Shuefei that she had at least a 90% chance of winning. She also warned the Dongcheng people early on that they should run if they can and don't fight in, otherwise there would be no return. If you don't obey, this is what will happen. Now she just needs to wait for Wang Yan and Song Tao to make their choice. But no matter how they choose, they will always lose.